I would like to introduce Christina Choi, Executive Director of Investment Products at the Securities and Futures Commission, the SFC of Hong Kong. The SFC co-hosted the Financial Services Regulatory Forum last week together with the Commission, and therefore it's an absolute pleasure, Christina, for you to be with us today. Over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. So first of all, I would like to thank ASIFMA and Afore Consulting for inviting me to speak at this year's EU-Asia Financial Services Dialogue. And this forum is really an important platform to enable Asian and EU regulators and market participants to better understand different perspectives on common challenges in our financial markets. So I think following the hype of AI, I asked a few AI chatbots like the DeepSeek, Grok, and GPT-4 about common issues facing the Asian and European markets. While most answers were quite consistent with what you expect, citing geopolitics, inflation, interest rates, etc., yet I was surprised that not all of them mentioned technology and sustainability. But I think indeed these are actually two very key driving forces shaping our shared future, which will be discussed extensively in today's forum. So I think in the coming few minutes, I will talk more from the Asian regulatory perspective and also, from the IOSCO APRC, the Asia Pacific Regulatory Committee's perspective. So I think we all recognize that technology and innovation always go hand in hand in driving the financial sector forward. In Asia, an increasing number of financial institutions are embedding AI into financial services, resulting in more efficient delivery of products and services. And the impact on businesses and day-to-day work is both transformative and far-reaching. So while the use of AI by financial institutions is not new, the emergence of generative AI could amplify existing risks and pose new risks not only for the financial sector, but also regulators alike. I think this has been quite widely discussed. So in November last year, the Hong Kong SFC, we provided guidance to the industry about the deployment of generative AI language models. And we encourage licensed firms to take advantage of it to innovate, improve operating efficiency, and raise productivity. But at the same time, we also call on licensed firms to take a risk-based deployment approach. And our requirements cover senior management responsibilities as well as managing the risks of AI models, cybersecurity, data, and also third-party providers. I think globally, regulatory approaches to AI vary significantly, with some jurisdictions choosing to apply existing frameworks, while others are considering developing bespoke regulation. Regulation shouldn't be viewed as a foe, but rather a friend to innovation. And it can help foster a nurturing environment which enables responsible growth and contributes to sustainable development of the technological ecosystem. And when I speak about regulatory cooperation, it extends beyond securities regulators within the IOSCO space, as AI is both a cross-border and cross-sectoral issue. As such, last October, IOSCO's APRC, with our 33 member authorities within the region, and is currently chaired by our CEO, we organized a workshop in Hong Kong with the Financial Stability Board's Regional Consultative Group for Asia, which, as you know, primarily comprises central bankers, to discuss the cross-sectoral implications of disruptive technologies for the financial system, as well as the role of regulation. So a key takeaway from the discussion was the need for regulatory guardrails to protect investors and ensure financial stability, while still embracing innovation to enhance the efficiency, robustness, and cost effectiveness of financial services. So next, I'll just turn to sustainability. I think over the last year or so, severe disruptions from climate-related events easily come to our minds. Like in this region, the Dubai airport grinding to a halt due to flooding, and 6 typhoons hitting the Philippines in a single month. And of course, very recently, the blaze that swept through Southern California. And Swiss Re reported that insured losses from catastrophes, including hurricanes, severe thunderstorms, and floods, will exceed $100 billion for the 5th consecutive year. And these events are a stark reminder of the critical need for sustainable development. And for financial markets, it is essential to integrate consideration of climate and sustainability-related risks and opportunities into business operations and financial institutions' investment and risk management processes. And the financial risk of ignoring climate risk or change is becoming more and more relevant to businesses around the globe. And in the long run, the heavy cost of ignoring such risks will simply outweigh the cost of tackling climate change properly. So here in Asia, we are acutely aware of the impact of climate change and taking steps to boost our resilience, especially because of the region's transition to sustainable practices. And this brings me to an initiative in which we have been actively involved, and I think as Jean-Paul has just alluded to, which is a very important initiative of involving IOSCO, is the implementation of the ISSB standards. And the standards were endorsed by IOSCO and were developed in response to investor demand for decision-useful, comparable information on the climate resilience and sustainability of businesses. And IOSCO is focused on promoting and supporting the implementation of the ISSB Global Baseline Sustainability Reporting Standards across its member jurisdictions. And this is also on the top of the APRC agenda. 13 jurisdictions within the region have already published roadmaps or made public announcement to adopt the ISSB standards. And of course, these jurisdictions are taking different phasing approaches and have different timelines, but we are all moving in the same direction. Taking Hong Kong as an example, the Hong Kong SAR government unveiled a roadmap on sustainability disclosures last December, outlining Hong Kong's ambition to fully adopt the ISSB standards, including both the IFRS S1 general requirements and IFRS S2 focusing on climate-related disclosures. And according to the roadmap, the largest listed companies and financial institutions in Hong Kong are expected to fully report against standards fully aligned with the ISSB standards no later than 2028. And to give listed companies a head start in reporting against the ISSB standards between now and 2028, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange enhanced climate-related disclosure requirements have become effective this year under a phased approach. And as we look forward this year, both Hong Kong and the broader Asia Pacific will prioritize the implementation of the ISSB standards. For Hong Kong, our focus will be on how we achieve our sustainability ambitions, build alignment, and foster capacity building. And we also aim to address 2 specific reporting challenges, namely enhancing data availability for Scope 3 emissions calculation and facilitating interoperability between frameworks to ease the reporting burden on multinational companies. I will admit this is not an easy task. Clearly, the onus is on regulators, international standard setters, and market participants to make concerted efforts, and we will continue our dialogue to address these critical issues. Another key focus for securities regulators is mitigating greenwashing. And IOSCO has undertaken a number of initiatives with a view to tackling greenwashing throughout the investment chain. And at the APRC, we are closely monitoring how all these initiatives convert and to what effect. Here I come to my last point about international collaboration in the face of technology and sustainability challenges. Today's event is a great example to foster meaningful dialogue and enhance mutual understanding. And just last week, the APRC met in Da Nang, Vietnam, and the APRC members reached broad consensus in Vietnam on collective strategies to tackle common issues like fintech, AI, sustainability, and combating scams. And these discussions support further alignment of approaches in Asia Pacific. So before I finish my remarks, let me just share with you, I actually follow up with the AI chat box on why they didn't mention technology or sustainability. And they were then very quick to fix their mistakes by calling these crucial factors for both Asian and the EU financial markets with sound reasoning. So my conclusion is that AI is learning really fast, but are we as humans doing the same in recognizing these transformative challenges? I hope we can all continue to engage in constructive discussions and collaborative efforts to address the risks and harness the opportunities. And this will ensure we share and develop best practices that will sustain the integrity, resilience, and development of our financial markets. And with that, I'll stop here and hope you all have a very fruitful dialogue today. Thank you.
Christina, thank you so much for those words. I found that fascinating, and it's good to see how you're starting to build AI into the preparation of your speeches, and to see that that AI is able to learn on the spot. It seems like a young pupil in school who can adapt quickly. But I particularly liked your points about the tension or kind of facilitation of regulation when it comes to the adoption of new technologies, that the two elements are not necessarily in tension with each other. Yep. Particularly as we're discussing a deregulation agenda in Europe at the moment. Also, thank you for highlighting the importance of the ISSB, particularly in this current environment. Again, from a European perspective, we often see Europe wanting to go well beyond the ISSB, and we should remember the baseline. Thank you so much for being with us, Christina.
Thank you.
Hopefully see you in person soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.